What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com and ArrowheadAddict.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And ladies and gentlemen, your Kansas City Chiefs just defeated the Houston Texans by a final score of 23-14 to advance to their 7th straight AFC Championship game in the Patrick Mahomes era. And guys, there's a lot to talk about from this game. This is just going to be a quick video, me recapping some of my main thoughts on this game. I'll probably do a live show later tonight with Michael Darcy of KC Sports Report, but we got even more good news after this game for the Kansas City Chiefs, as it appears that they came out of this game unscathed. They came out healthy, which you could not say for most of the Kansas City Chiefs season. Players that went out at different times were Brian Cook, Trent McDuffie, Chris Jones, but all of them returned to the game at one point or another. Justin Reed was another bad one. It looked like he was knocked out cold, but even he was walking around on the sidelines in good spirits, had his helmet on. So even though it was a tough physical game with a lot of challenges, the Kansas City Chiefs come out of this game healthy, and I think that's the most important part as you advance deeper into the postseason. But getting into the game, man, was this not just another typical Kansas City Chiefs game where they come out a little bit slow, they take advantage of the other team's mistakes, they end up winning by nearly double digits? I mean, the game is kind of interesting for the most part, but like the Kansas City Chiefs ultimately are going to make a few more plays than you and come out with the victory, and that's exactly what they did. Now, I have a lot of thoughts, some positive, some negative. I want to start with the positives first, though. So positive number one was that I thought Kareem Hunt was a godsend for this team in this game. Not eye-popping numbers, 8 carries for 44 yards and a touchdown, but when it was clear that Isaiah Pacheco was struggling yet again, and maybe we'll talk about Isaiah Pacheco later, maybe in the live tonight, because I think he's kind of becoming a problem. Maybe not necessarily a problem, but it just feels like the positive runs, they're not coming enough with him anymore. But Kareem Hunt, when this team needed him, nails in short yardage, nails at the goal line, multiple first down runs. Like, he's doing everything you could ask of him. And he's been an anchor for this run game. Mahomes made just enough plays on his feet. Also, Travis Kelce, man, he came alive in this game. 7 catches for 117 yards and 1 touchdown. What did I say in the preview? Travis Kelce is going to be Travis Kelce. Yes, he gets managed throughout the regular season. You know, it is what it is. That he's at that point in his career. He doesn't care about the regular season, man. He just doesn't. He doesn't care about the stats anymore. He's about winning championships. And when this team needed him in a playoff game, he looked like Travis Kelce of old. And it's just amazing, that switch that he's able to flip. And you know what I think is amazing, too, is that the Kansas City Chiefs almost won this game by double digits. Essentially did win by double digits right before Matt Araiza took the intentional safety. Only having 212 total yards of offense, Mahomes throwing for less than 200 yards, having less than 50 total rushing yards in the run game, averaged 4.2 yards per play. The Texans dominated this game in every statistical category except for the scoreboard, which I just think is incredible and just puts an emphasis on the many different ways that the Kansas City Chiefs can beat you. I mean, offensively, the Chiefs were not great today, but their defense did just enough, despite, a couple of drives where it looks kind of iffy, but after that, they kind of tightened up, and they really, really turned up the heat on C.J. Stroud. And George Karlaftis is a guy that had a standout performance today. Right now, he's credited with 3 sacks, but it feels like he had a lot more with how much he was in the backfield. And, he's someone that I've criticized a lot. It's almost become kind of a running joke on this channel how much I criticize George Karlaftis, but he kind of shut me up today. Now, I will say, there is one caveat to all of this and his performance that he had today, but the Texans continuously tried to block George Karlaftis with a tight end, and that was just irresponsible by the Texans offense and the coaching staff. You can't block George Karlaftis with a tight end, or else that's the result that you're going to get. Charles Omenihu also, I thought, sneakily had a very good game. Tershawn Wharton, but Charles Omenihu, he had a strip sack on CJ in which the Texans recovered it, but it always feels like Charles Omenihu, anytime that he is getting to the quarterback, he's trying to take that ball out of their grasp, and I really like that about him. Felix Anudike-Uzomah had a sack in this game. That's really good to see from him in the postseason, so He did really well. I thought Xavier Worthy had a nice game despite that one drop at the line of scrimmage. He immediately made up for it with a nice play in which the Kansas City Chiefs ended up kicking a field goal. Probably would have went for it if it was more of a desperate situation, but it wasn't. The Chiefs were about to go up by 2 possessions either way, so that was an easy decision right there. Another positive was Chiefs special teams. I mean, whether the Texans kicker just had a really bad day or the Chiefs special teams had an effect on them, I don't know, but I mean, that was a huge difference in this game. The Texans left several points out on the field from field goal kicking, and of course the Chiefs did get the one block, which was not luck at the end of the game. That was just crazy stuff right there, but yeah, I really liked the way that the special teams performed, which is not something that I've said most of the season, and also Nico Remigio had a huge return to open up the game. A little unfortunate that the Chiefs were not able to capitalize in the red zone off that huge return to open it up, but I'm about to get into that a little bit more here in my negatives. I thought the offense today was really disappointing, and yeah, they did enough to get the job done, and that's what they've done all season. That's cool, but I was expecting a little bit more of a coming out party for the offense, kind of an opening up of the playbook. We talked about flipping the switch. Admittedly, a lot of that talk was from myself and Michael Darcy of KC Sports Report, but that's not really what we saw, and I was really disappointed by the game plan from Andy Reid. It seemed like they weren't giving the offensive line enough help. The Chiefs kind of lost the line of scrimmage battle up front, but were able to overcome that in other ways. The red zone play calling was questionable at best. I'm really tired of seeing the Xavier Worthy in the backfield stuff. I think that's a misuse of his abilities. The Pacheco 2-yard runs, it's just not doing it for me. And something else I found very interesting is that no Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver got a touch in this game outside of Xavier Worthy. Nothing from D-Hop. Nothing from Hollywood Brown. Not even a Juju Smith-Schuster play or anything like that. And I don't know if that was because the Kansas City Chiefs once again thought that they could get through this game without really showing off those guys' capabilities. But, this just felt like a game that was made for a guy like D-Hop to go off. And against his former team and his first taste of a Super Bowl run with a team that actually has Super Bowl aspirations, I don't get that. Where was D-Hop today? Where were the other guys? And Hollywood Brown, he did have a catch that I thought, he did catch, and Andy Reid just didn't challenge. I think that was worth a challenge. So maybe you can cut them a little bit of slack, but I'm really baffled at the lack of usage of Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins, and my hope there is that the Kansas City Chiefs simply thought they didn't need those guys in this game, and so we just kind of went with the Patrick Mahomes-Travis Kelce connection, which is an obvious one, but you know that you're going to still be able to get some good plays with that. You're going to be able to score with just that connection alone. So, yeah, I don't know. The offensive game plan to me today was a little bit disappointing. I also thought Steve Spagnuolo's game plan on the back end of the defense, some of the coverages were way too soft. They were giving a lot of those wide receivers, Nico Collins in particular, way too much room to work with. The middle of the field was wide open all day. Got to tighten that up. Got to tighten that up in the next round. Better teams are going to take advantage. They're going to get more explosive plays, but credit where it's due. They tightened up in the second half, late in the second half. And the pass rush really started to turn up the heat, and that was good to see because I said, that's something I want to see. That's a matchup I want to see the Chiefs win. This Texans offensive line is mediocre. George Karlaftis, I've called you out all season. Mike Dana, I've called you out. FAU, I've called you out. We know what Chris Jones is capable of, but I wanted to see the Chiefs win on the edge, and you could say they won on the edge today for sure. And then another negative, and it's not necessarily a negative against the Chiefs, but just a negative from this game was the officiating. And, guys, I don't subscribe to the idea that the refs help out KC, but if you wanted to make a strong example or if you wanted to point to a game to make your case that the refs are there to help KC, you could certainly point to this game. I mean, I thought both of those roughing calls on Mahomes were extremely tacky, extremely soft, especially the second one because I thought that the Texans defenders hit each other and not Mahomes. I mean, they barely grazed Mahomes' helmet. I understand the intent of what they were trying to do, and maybe that's why the refs still called it, but I just don't think that the quarterback should get that much benefit of the doubt as a runner. and be that protected outside the pocket. So that was bad. I mean, let's admit it, guys. The Chiefs got the calls in this game. They got the calls that they wanted, and I thought they were pretty soft. And then just some other negatives. Isaiah Pacheco, I mentioned him earlier. I'll probably talk about him more tonight with Michael Darcy, but 5 carries for 18 yards. That's 3.6 yards per carry. You're just not getting enough explosiveness from him when it feels like he's supposed to be your explosive running back. And I just have not liked what I've seen lately. The offensive line is definitely going to have to be a lot better. Also, 2 very stupid penalties from Trey Smith and Juwan Taylor in this game that contributed to some disappointing drives. I mean, offense, I'll say it again, I just thought it was a very lackluster game plan, and it was essentially saved by Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. And if Mahomes doesn't convert that pass to Travis Kelce while he's falling to the ground on 3rd down, this game may look a lot different, and we think a lot differently of the team's performance. So I'm just hoping that there's a lot more left in the bag that the Kansas City Chiefs did not show us today, because that kind of effort is not going to work against the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens. And then before I wrap this up, we have to talk about that D'Amico Ryans decision to leave his offense out there, play clock running, winding down, decides to go for it on 4th down, doesn't even call a timeout, and the Texans didn't even look remotely ready. C.J. Stroud drops back and gets sacked by George Karlaftis, turnover on downs. That decision lost the game for Houston. I mean, just a mind-boggling decision by D'Amico Ryans that killed any chance of the Texans really making a comeback in this game. Although, I should say, and this is another negative for the Chiefs actually, the Chiefs turned around and went 3-and-out right after. And it felt like Andy Reid wasn't even being serious with the play calls. It's like, come on, man, where's the killer instinct? Like, does every game have to be close? I don't know. That's another thing that I'm going to talk about later tonight, though, because that really frustrated me. But, I mean, yeah, that D'Amico Ryans decision essentially ended any chance of Houston winning this game. Dumb, stupid, unbelievable. But yeah, Kansas City Chiefs come out with the 23-14 victory, moving on to their 7th straight AFC Championship game. We'll find out their opponent after tomorrow, and I'll likely hop back on tomorrow again to discuss their next opponent after we find out who that is. So that's all I got for this video. Quick hitters on the Kansas City Chiefs victory in the AFC Divisional round. But I want to hear from you guys in the comments. What were your thoughts on this game? Anything you agree with me, disagree with me? Would love to hear from you guys below. All that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. And make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com for more. And I will see you all in the next one. That's all I got. Signing off. And as always, go Chiefs.